Hey, what's up? My name is Rob, and I am the author of Maschine, the hip-hop beatmaker's missing manual. And today, again, we're going to talk about something that has been on my mind lately. So, are the beats you're making right now on Maschine kind of boring and repetitive, like the same loop over and over again? So, this is why it's so incredibly important to learn how to arrange properly on Maschine, because without that ability, your listeners are going to start to tune out your music. Let me quickly explain what I mean by that. Our brains are evolutionarily and scientifically programmed to tune out repetitive noises. And if you don't adhere to this scientific law, you're not going to be able to get the SoundCloud plays that you're looking for, the Twitter followers, or the Facebook fans, or whatever, because listeners are going to be bored by your music. But what if there was a really simple way for you to tighten up the arrangement of your beats on Maschine so that you could essentially just grab your listener by the ear and really command their attention because of your arrangement skills? Well, today you're in luck, because over the past year or so, I've kind of put together a method of arranging on Maschine that, like I said, really grabs your listener by the ear, produces evolving beats that are constantly moving and expanding and contracting and are very dynamic, and that in turn is going to grab a listener by their ear. And right now we're going to jump on over to Maschine and I'm going to show you how to do this, alright? So let's get started. Alright, so we are over in Maschine, and we're going to start with the first step. The very first step is to build out your production with instrumentation. Okay, by that I mean you want to have the foundation of the drum groove, the melody that you're going to work with, and build up all the supporting sounds. Okay, by that, just to be more specific with you, I'm looking to build out basically my entire beat and stack it upon each other before I start my arrangement. So at this point, I've got a drum groove, I've got a primary melody and a secondary melody as well. In a typical situation, I might have a bass line and other elements to the song, so maybe about 5 total groups, but I want to keep this simple just to make sure that you guys can follow along with me. This method is something that I like to call stacking, okay? You're focusing initially on building sounds that go well together, and then you can worry about balancing the sounds and stuff like that and arranging the sounds later. So start by building your beat from scratch. I'm going to let you listen to what we have going so far, and then we're going to focus on building out the arrangement using this process that I've come up with. So let's listen to the beat. Alright, so it's a simple little house style beat, alright? The second step is what we're going to move on to. As you can see, the first step was all about building out the individual sounds, building out the drums and the melody. The second step is simple. Okay, we're going to press the scene button on the hardware and duplicate this pattern a ton of times. Alright, so we've got 6 scenes all with the same pattern. Okay, and this is the stacked method that I'm talking about. So maybe we have 6 scenes right now, each one being 8 bars, and we have all stacked them on top of each other. Now it's time to basically cut out the sounds and elements to sort of build the beat around the arrangement that we're working with. So I'm going to press Scene on the hardware and select All to make sure that this plays all of the scenes that we have going on. And I'm going to start to remove certain sections to sort of flesh out the arrangement. So we have the same exact basic structure of this scene built out across 6 times, and we're going to start to remove stuff. So I know I want to start with the drums in the beginning, and I'm going to do that, and I want to build maybe to the primary melody, and I'm going to build out to the secondary melody. So this is essentially what we have now. I deleted the chords. This is the chords. These are the individual notes, and these are the drums. So I deleted the chords and the notes sounds, and I'm going to essentially see what this sounds like right now before I move on. So this is the second step. Let's listen to see what this sounds like. Okay, I want to extend this little arpeggiated pattern that I've got another bar. So I want this to be 4 or to 8 bars, excuse me. I want before this sort of chords comes in. So I'm going to build out that structure. And I know my verse is going to be, so this represents the sort of initial intro, and this is a build. And this is another build. We're going to build for 8 bars, and then we're going to get into the main verse section. And the verse, let's say last 16 bars, all right? So we've got from bars 12 to 20, and then from bars 20 to 28, we've got the verse going on. So now we know we want a chorus here. So we're going to have to figure out something unique with the arrangement to do here. All right, so we've got this working. So I know in this build section, let's move on to step 3. This is the basic arrangement of the beat. In this build section, I'm going to want some sort of filter on these notes to make this a little bit more interesting. All right, so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to click here, duplicate this original pattern, and paste it here. So we've created a second pattern. You can also do this on your hardware as well. So we'll take pattern 1, and we'll press and hold the pattern button, and then press the duplicate button on button 4. So now we've got the same pattern in section 2 right here, or in scene 2. All right, so what we're going to do now is sort of add a little effect onto this arrangement of this pattern to make it a little bit more varied and interesting. So what we're going to do is practice some automation. I've created an entire video on automation that you can check out as well. It's on the channel if you want to learn how to do this more specifically. But just for the sake of time, I don't have the full time to explain exactly what automation is. But basically what we're going to do is make this sound a little bit more varied, a little bit more evolving, so it's not the exact same shit going on inside the beat. So let's go ahead and practice this automated pattern on pattern 2 to sort of figure out what we're going to do. So I'm going to select scene and then scene 2 to make sure that this loops by itself. And I'm going to sort of experiment with by throwing on a low pass filter. Let's press this plus on top of this notes section to sort of experiment with what I can do. So we're going to filter this, and we're going to see what's cracking. So watch this cutoff point. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the closed filter, and then I'm going to open it up so that in this second section of this build, it's like fully, full force. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to record in this low pass filter, make sure it's cut off very low at first, and then I'm going to open it up towards the end of this 4 bars. And I'm going to record that in right now, okay? So in order to do this, you just press the auto button and automate this filter suite. All right, and if you don't know how to automate, go ahead and watch the automation video. I can go into full detail there. All right, so I'm going to count this in and record it. Alright, so that's what we're working with. Now we're going to listen to this in the context of the entire beat. So I pressed scene and selected all to make sure that all these scenes play in order. So, alright, I figured out that I want these drums to come back in after I drop this beat off right here. And so I'm going to go back and to select scene, let's say this scene. And then I'm going to select scene all and then play this from here. So you guys, that's the basic gist of it. You can get definitely more advanced as far as the arrangement goes and switching up of the patterns. We can sort of make, probably put some sort of filter on top of this chord as well to make it a little bit more muffled at some points and sort of bring this in and out to make that more evolving. You can also automate other things like the reverb that's going on in certain situations. You can also use things like one-shots in certain sections of the beat to sort of add more dynamic things that are going on before this beat really drops. So, hands down though, this is the simplest way, in my opinion, to produce a solid arrangement on Maschine. I know I didn't have a ton of time to cover everything as far as arrangement, you know, with the scenes and the patterns and the sounds, but I want to give you an opportunity to sort of make sure that you're up to speed on these concepts of arrangement. Inside of my book, it's called Maschine, the Hip Hop Beatmaker's Missing Manual. You can get the knowledge and the techniques that you need to quickly learn aspects of scenes, patterns, and sounds and arrangement on Maschine so that you can get yourself to a higher understanding of what's going on Maschine. We have an entire chapter on here about how to use scenes, patterns, and sounds in order to build beats creatively. So if you are at the point where you want to be able to use Maschine and bust out creative beats without even having to think about what to do, I recommend that you grab a copy of this 89-page book. It goes into depth in terms of things like we talked about with automation, things that we talked about using effects in order to make beats. We talk about drum patterns. It's really in detail about the techniques that you need to learn in order to make album quality and release ready beats on Maschine. This is the only in-depth guide in the world focused on teaching you the skills that you need to make better beats on Maschine. And let me tell you, here's the great news. I normally sell this guide at $49, but even at that price, it's still a steal. But over the past few years or so, I've sort of figured out that the more people that get their hands on this book, the better my brand becomes and the more expansive my reach gets. So I'm going to hook you up with a deal today so that you can get this book for just $1. Okay, no BS. $1. You're going to click the link below in order to get it. There's a link in the description. In order to get your copy of this book, you're going to land upon a page that looks like this. You can find out more information about what's inside of this guide, find out what's inside of all of these chapters, and there's more explanations. Literally, guys, $1. All right, you're going to land upon this page. You're going to click this button in order to get to the order form. Like I said, it's $1. Enter your contact information and your credit card information, and press the green button at the bottom to complete your order, and you'll be up and running in just a few minutes with, hands down, the best guide in the world for Maschine producers, okay? So click the link in the description to take advantage of this deal, because I promise you, grabbing a copy of this book is going to be the smartest investment that you've ever made in your music, okay? So grab your copy before the price rises. Again, my name is Rob, and I am the author of this book, Maschine, the Hip Hop Beatmaker's Missing Manual. I'm also the author of the hiphoprally.com blog, which has a ton of great free information for you as a Maschine producer to improve your craft and to take your knowledge and your understanding and your skills at production to the next level, okay? This is the #1 resource for Maschine producers. So click the subscribe button below to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the great content that I'm publishing every single day, or the great blog articles. And I look forward to seeing you in future videos, all right? So I'll holler at you later. Peace.